Oli, we're now looking at about 90% of the count for the votes, and of course about 13 million people having been counted in terms of voting. And I'm now joined by ATM, which is one of the parties at this point that haven't yet reached 60,000, right? You're just under 60,000. I can imagine that at this point you're hoping for a lot more. But what sort of reaction would you say you have as a party to the sort of numbers that we're seeing here?
Firstly, yes, we are sitting at under 60,000, but what we're noting is that we have votes across the country, so our national footprint remains in place, and we are seeing how everything is going. We're at 90% now, so we are indeed hoping to get to that 60,000, and with a voter turnout that is historically low, sitting at possibly just under 15 million. If you look at 2019, you had 26 million registered voters, and 17 million actually came out to vote, and now we're looking at possibly 15 million, which is just about 58 voter turnout, which is a serious concern. But we see the results as they came. They indeed do demonstrate the will of the people, and we're hoping that the manner in which people have voted will indeed reflect the services they are going to get going forward, and that there will be an improvement. We're in a country where 11 million people are unemployed, crime rate is high, and all of that. So we hope, despite everything that is happening, that there will be a change. ATM also entered these elections with an intention to contribute to building the country, to contribute to improving the situation in the country. And with the votes that we've got, whatever happens, we'll continue with that mission, because we believe that in South Africa there should be a betterment of life, and that is what we seek to continue, like we've been doing since 2019 in Parliament.
I want to speak about 2019. Let's look at what you have at this point as ATM. Where is your presence?
We are sitting with two members of Parliament in Parliament, and we have a provincial MPL in KZN, MPL in the Eastern Cape, and that emanates from the 2019 election. But following the 2021 local government election, we're sitting with 55 councillors across the country, and we are in coalition governments in some municipalities. So as the ATM, we are indeed involved in an attempt to rescue the country, in an attempt to provide service delivery, in an attempt to better the situation as it stands.
And of course, you understand the coalition much better because you've been part of these coalition talks. And I would say one of those coalitions that you have is in the West Rand, where there's quite a lot of service delivery issues that the community is facing there in the local government. But my point here is, what sort of talks are you going to go into when you go into coalitions for that betterment of the country, like you say?
Whenever we enter into coalitions of any kind, the primary objective and what we put forward as the ATM is we look at what coalition partners are offering in terms of the service delivery, basically. So what is it that a political party which requires coalition arrangements, what are they saying? And want issues of service delivery, issues of bettering people's lives to take center stage whenever there are talks arranged. It should be, this is what we want to do for the people, and that is how we decide whether or not we want to be part of that coalition. And if we see that this arrangement is not going to deliver any services for the people, this arrangement is not going to be a project that embarks on improving people's lives, and it won't improve employment, it won't improve services and the quality of life overall, then we will not be part of that. So we look at what is it that we can do for South Africans, not only the possibly 15 million who shall have voted now, but the over 60 million population of this country, because we are saying let there be an improvement of life overall. We cannot sit in a country where unemployment is high, where children graduate and they can't do any business, they can't be employed, and you have got a deterioration of the quality of life overall. And that is what we want to see change. So whenever coalition talks, we are part of them, we want to make sure that they are prioritizing primarily the people of this country.
And just lastly, how much power do you think you will have going into these coalition talks, but also going into government at this point with the kind of numbers that we're seeing? How's that going to affect your negotiations?
All right. We will not be negotiating for any coalition. We are in no position. We should not be doing that. Those who have secured numbers close to the required 50+1 to govern are the ones who should go around looking for partners. And if we are called upon as the ATM to partner with anybody who wants to govern this country, it is only then that we'll then begin talking. But we're in no position as a political party to say this is what we want. We have no basis at which to shop around for coalition. But we're hoping that as a political party, even if we have not emerged victorious in this election, that those who have received support from South Africans will remember them, will prioritize them. Because what we've been seeing all these years, this is not the first election, it's 30 years of the democratic dispensation, but what you've seen is a reduction in the quality of life, is people having been forgotten by those who access the levers of power in this country. And that is what we'd like to remind and warn parties, that they must not forget the people of this country. Voting is not just for the fun of exercising your voting right, but it is based on a hope that there will be an improvement of the quality of your life as an ordinary citizen of this country.
Thank you very much for speaking to us. Of course, that's ATM having a conversation with us in terms of how going forward, the kind of negotiations, the kind of topics and conversations that they are going to be having.